Good evening, everybody, and this is the WWE Raw review for August the 29th, 2016. And finally, we have a really good ending to Raw. And we haven't had a good ending to Raw in months, but tonight we finally got it. During the Fatal 4-Way for the WWE Universal Championship belt, Kevin Owens wins the title with help from Triple H. I predicted that this was going to happen. That Triple H was going to turn on Seth Rollins and he's got to pick Kevin Owens to be his man. I mean, I knew it from the start when you saw backstage Triple H was talking to Kevin Owens. You can see that they were going to set it up that Triple H is going to screw Seth Rollins. And this would have happened months ago, but because of his Seth Rollins' injury, they had to postpone it until he got back. But yeah, this is a pretty good moment to do it. Universal Championship match. Oh my god, it was a great ending. I mean, you saw Triple H screwing Roman Reigns once again, and then seeing Triple H try to seem that he's going to help Seth Rollins, and then put him in the pedigree, and you saw he was looking at Kevin Owens, and yeah, you knew it was going to happen. A huge celebration for Kevin Owens. I mean, the crowd was saying he deserved it, and he really did. After all the crap he went through, especially being buried by Cena, he finally gets his shot. He finally gets the big one. Well, sort of big one, not big. Despite how ugly that title is, he finally got the big one, and he is our new WWE Universal Champion. Yeah, I mean, Raw took place in Houston, Texas, which is also the home of Booker T's reality wrestling promotion, which is great. Go on YouTube to check it out. It's great wrestling. And this show, like from the very beginning, was just crap. And we finally have this ray of sunshine, this one moment where it was all good. I mean, I know it was enough to save Raw, but at least you can leave knowing that it, the ending didn't suck. Yeah, okay, let's see. Bear with me, I'm just going to try to. Alright. Okay, Raw starts in Houston, Texas, and in the beginning we have Corey Graves. Oh, and before I start, I just want to say rest in peace to Mr. Fuji, who died this week. He's a Hall of Famer, one of the best managers that ever happened in the WWF. Because I'm just going to say WWF because let's face it, uh, say he was the greatest during this crappy WWE era. No, he was the best WWF manager they had. You know, he was Yokozuna's manager. Oh my god. Okay, let's see. Okay, and after they have a young loving memory of Mr. Fuji, we kick off with a video package of Finn Balor winning the title, and only to give it up because of a shoulder injury that he received from Seth Rollins. We got into the barricade. You can see that it really just, I mean, really just hit his shoulder. And what I don't get is why didn't they show him popping that shoulder back in? You know, just like Riggs and Lethal Weapon. But yeah, Well, and we kick off Raw, and there was no intro music. All we had was pyro, and then went to Corey Graves interviewing the four wrestlers and the Fatal Four Way for the WWE Universal Championship match later on, but it's a elimination match. That I just found that it was an elimination match, not a straight out Fatal Four Way. So because they put 30 minutes at the very end of Raw for this. And I have to say, this beginning promo was just boring, especially when they just talked. But, okay, let's see. Okay, Corey Graves was just introducing everyone, but then Rollins cuts him off and saying that the real reason that they're all sitting out here right now is because of him. Yeah, because you injured Finn Balor. And I don't know if it was real that he injured Sami Zayn, but you know, he's a very dangerous wrestler. I mean, especially considering how the WWE doesn't concentrate on wrestling, they concentrate on entertainment. Let's see. Let's check. Let's see. Okay, got it. All right. It is a. It said if it wasn't for what he did to Finn Balor at SummerSlam, he wouldn't have had to undergo reconstructive shoulder surgery and be forced to vacate the WWE Universal Championship. They said that he is clearly the favorite to win this match tonight. They said he offers to donate his speaking time to Kevin Owens. And Kevin Owens thanks Rollins and said that he's a fan of Corey Graves' and another shameless WWE Network plugin. I don't know why they keep doing this. I mean, the network is out there. Why do they keep? Why do they feel the need to just keep on promoting it? Okay, says that he's a fan of Corey Graves' WWE Network show as it helps him sleep. Yeah, Raw helps a lot of people to go to sleep. He said that he mocks having to sit down the title, having to sit around the title like a group therapy session. And Owen says with Sami Zayn out of the picture, and then Rollins interrupts him to try to take credit for that. And, and Kevin Owens says he talks about being a prize fighter. He's at his best when the stakes are high. Then Owens says that Reigns fights hard, but he fights fights and but he fights hard, but he fights smart. He says Big Cass is just tall. And then he said Cass thinks that this is a point. And Owens says that it is great to see he can talk for himself instead of having that idiot Enzo talk for him. And then Big Cass interrupts him and asks Owens if Chris Jericho wrote that joke for him. And he talks about being new here, that he has nothing to lose. Nobody's expecting him to win. Yeah. Yeah, that was evident at the beginning of the match. And then Rollins said that he heard even Enzo took out a bet against Cass. And Cass said that he is no underdog, and he is the biggest dog in the fight. And he tells Rollins that size does matter, no matter what he's been telling himself all these years. Yeah. And then Rollins tells all of them to shut up and said he's taking his time back. Then he said he he talks about his match being under elimination rules and setting Cass and Owens packing. And then Rollins thinks that it's come down to Rollins and Reigns. Him and Reigns. That he beats Reigns every single time. And then he said he thinks we should hear from Reigns and wants Graves to ask him a question. Reigns doesn't answer. He just attacks Owens. That goes after Rollins, and then you get to see Roman Reigns and Cass staring at each other, and then Seth Rollins kicks Reigns into Cass, and then they start attacking. Reigns tosses Cass out of the ring, and then Superman punch Rollins, and then he takes a look at the title. Yeah, typical WWE beginning with talk. Well, at least it led to a fight, but a boring fight. Let's see. And then we get to see. Then they mentioned how Paul Heyman was going to address Brock Lesnar's actions at WrestleMania. At SummerSlam. Yeah. And then we get to see a backstage little segment with Tom Phillips interviewing Chris Jericho. And then Phillips asks if he's prepared for fired up Neville after Jericho interfered in his match last week. And Jericho says that everyone knew Owens would win the match. And he makes a little bit of joke about Neville being Mighty Mouse because of the cape. He says here he comes to get a code breaker tonight. He's going to get, and then I don't know. He asks Phillips what's he going to get. Tom Phillips says it. Then Chris Jericho makes the argument that he's not going to get it. And tonight he's going to give him the gift of Jericho. Drink it in, man. Okay, then we have the match between Chris Jericho and Neville, which was a good match. Although commercials really did ruin the momentum of the majority of the matches on Raw. And I don't know whose idea was it to put commercials in certain places and time in these matches. The one time you need to put a commercial in the show is when there was no action. You don't put one at when the action was starting in a match. But no. They don't care. It's their prerogative, but it's just. Oh, what's this? Okay. Well, we start the match up with Jericho slapping Neville, and Neville attacks because of this. And Neville uses a series of takedowns on Jericho. Then Neville catapults Jericho over the top rope, preventing a drop kick. And Neville hits the ropes. Jericho moves out of the way, but Neville hangs on to the ropes and flips backwards back inside the ring. Jericho is just arguing with fans on the outside. And Neville walks out, and he's on the ring apron where he runs to Jericho, kicks him in the gut. Then Neville tosses Jericho back inside the ring. Then he goes up to top turnbuckle, jumps and catches him with a crossbody. Then Jericho crawls over and hides behind a referee. And then Neville was trying to attack him, but the referee was trying to separate them. But Jericho thumbed him in the eye and gave him a clothesline. And then the commercial break. And this is the point. I don't know why they did this. There should be a commercial break after a match or before a match started, not during a match. And then you see after the commercial break, Jericho caught him with a springboard elbow in the corner, and Jericho dumped Neville off the corner. Yeah. And Neville catches Jericho with a knee to the head. Jericho fires back with an elbow in the corner. And then Jericho gets back on top. And then gets hit by Neville and goes down. And then he does a standing shooting star press on Jericho for a 2 count. Then Neville chops Jericho. And then Jericho gets out of the ring. And then Neville goes for a running drop kick to the face of Jericho. Then catches him on the outside with a springboard moonsault from the second rope. And then they both get back in the ring. And Jericho tries to knock Neville off the top. But Neville jumps down and then hits him with a springboard missile kick. Then Neville counters a running bulldog by Jericho and sent him chest first to the turnbuckles. And then Neville goes for an elbow to the back of the neck of Jericho. But Jericho counters this and then went for the walls of Jericho. Then Neville counters to a small package for a 2 count. Then Neville avoids the code breaker and then lands a super kick. Then Neville goes up to the top one more time and misses a flying attack. And then Jericho gets Neville in the walls of Jericho and goes for the Lion's Gate and wins by a submission. So this was a good match. Jericho won clean, which says something about Jericho. And then, oh god, backstage you see Bailey walking, and then she hugs one of the workers there, and then she meets the New Day, and then I don't know, they're doing chants, and I don't know. Then Dana Brooke walks up to these guys, and then they said that Bailey will never succeed here. And then the New Day talks about how Bailey beat her last week. And then Dana Brooke said that she wasn't ready to compete last week. She was there to cheer, ready to support Charlotte. But then she's been talking to Gallows at Anderson recently. And then the New Day says that they go back to them. Dana Brooks calls you for free. Bailey tells Dana it has already brought up. And this sets up intergender six intergender. I don't know how they call this. 6-person tag team match between the New Day and Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows and Dana Brooke. I don't know. I think they'll probably try to set up Bailey to win the title away from Charlotte. Maybe at Backlash. And I'm a little bit confused because there'll be 2 pay-per-views this month. The SmackDown one is Backlash, which is an old pay-per-view they used to have. And then the Raw brand, they have Clash of Champions, which was a WCW televised event on TBS. And now they turn it into a pay-per-view. because they can't think of any other name for a pay-per-view. You know what's worse? The Night of Champions logo. I mean, oh, yeah. See, that's the thing. I call it Night of Champions because the Clash of Champions one looks just like the Night of Champions. And I don't know if they're going to have Night of Champions. Because if they do Night of Champions with the same type of logo, then they are not original. I mean, look at the titles that they have. 4 titles look the same. The WWE title looks WWE title, the WWE Universal title, the 2 Women's Division Championship belts from Raw and SmackDown, they're the same type with the WW logo. And the thing I don't get is that WW logo. Because back then when they had a WWE, when it started WWE, yeah, it was noted that it had the WW there and the lines that represented the E, but not anymore because of the network. Now it's just WW, and I don't know what it. And once again, we have Nia Jax come out there with a squash match. And she faces Hyan, which is a local talent from Houston, Texas. And I don't know, but I think she probably might be a wrestler from Reality of Wrestling. Some other wrestling organization right there, but this was a very short match. You know, Jax hit her with a clothesline, and more attacks, and Nia Jax tosses Hyan across the ring, and then there's a splash to the corner, and then she does her finisher, which I'm going to call Jackknife. I don't know why, and wins. Very short match, and I don't know what they're going to do with Nia Jax. I don't know if they're going to put her in a position of competing for the Raw Women's Division Championship belt. I mean, let's face it. What women wrestlers? I mean, no. Women superstars have wrestled on Raw recently. Sasha Banks is out because of a back injury. I don't know what because of what happened in SummerSlam, but what women wrestlers have wrestled? Charlotte, Dana Brooks, Nia Jax, and Bayley. 4 women. And they have what I don't get is Summer Rae and Alicia Fox are on the Raw brand, and I've only seen Alicia Fox wrestle once on Raw, and that was it. And I really don't understand that. I mean, at least SmackDown Women's Division has some wrestlers and they've been on the show, but yeah, I have no hopes up for that Women's Division either. But let's see. Okay, then we have Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson doing another gimmick because it taught after being doctors and all that they decided to start a new group. Yeah, because of what they did to the Dudley Boys, yeah, after their farewell, which they attacked them. Did Magic Killer on Bubba Ray outside the ring and doing Magic Killer on Devon through a table. Then they just decided to to create a retirement plan. The octogenarian leisure destination for aging rehabilitation treatment, which spells out old fart. Yeah, it's an anagram for old fart. Yeah. And they talk about retiring the Dudley Boys last week, and they needed to retire the New Day as champions. And then you see Dana Brooks with the nurse's outfit. Yeah, they're still going to continue this whole doctor thing. I don't get this. I mean, this is no way of trying to promote your tag team division, in which there is none, because you don't see them wrestle. All you see is New Day and Carl Addison and Luke Gallows, and that's it. I mean, at least with SmackDown, with that tournament, at least you've seen some tag team matches. But don't count your hopes up. After the SmackDown Tag Team Championship tournament is over, you're going to see a lot less tag team matches. So. And then up next, and then we get to see a video package of Seth Rollins, try to fight for the Universal title, all that. Yeah. Okay, then next we have a squash match between Sami Zayn and Jinder Mahal. Yeah, you see Sami Zayn took down Jinder Mahal quick. And then Mahal catches him with a series of elbows, and Sami Zayn jumps over Mahal and connects with a spin kick. And then Zayn chops Jinder Mahal, and Mahal bails and pulls Zayn out of the ring. Then Zayn was hanging on, but Mahal slides back in and gets in a couple of shots to Zayn. And then Mahal starts to attack him in the corner with his right hands, and Mahal goes for a drop kick, but then Zayn catches Mahal with a quick clothesline, and then connects him in the corner, and then delivers the haluva kick for a win. So yeah, that was a close match, and yeah, it's really great to see Jinder Mahal being squashed. Yeah. So they bring Jinder Mahal to get squashed by the rest of the people, and Sami Zayn, a guy who should be in that Fatal 4-Way. Yeah, although I think it was great that Seth Rollins in there, but yeah, I don't know what plans they're going to have for him. I would think he'll try to go for the United States title, but they haven't done anything for that, especially in this match. I mean, this Raw. And then we get a medical update with Sasha Banks, and she's going to be out for a couple of months, And then, I don't know, they talk about how her back went out during her match. Huh. I don't know, because she fell hard on her neck, and I don't know why that wasn't discussed. Disgusted. I mean, I don't know. Oh, she fell really hard on her neck. I don't know if that was an injury that did her in, but yeah. And then we have the New Day, Billy versus Luke Gallows, Carl Addison, and Dana Brooks with Charlotte at commentary, and let's face it, the commentators didn't really give a damn about this match. They barely even talked about this match. They just talked about Charlotte and Sasha Banks and all this. I mean, it was an okay match. I mean, especially at the very end where Bailey ended the match with a belly to Bailey to Dana Brooks for the win. But yeah, so probably sooner or later it'll be New Day versus Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows one more time for the tag team titles. Hmm. Yeah. And then we get a backstage with Top Belts with Cesaro. And I was a little bit confused during this little interview because the way they were saying it, that, this was their second match because they fought, because of the best of seven with Cesaro and Sheamus, that their first match was at SummerSlam where Sheamus won. But then they were talking about that the second match already happened, and talking about how Sheamus was 2-0, and I don't know, that maybe that was a little bit of a goof up that they gave away the ending. They were the results of the match between Sheamus and Cesaro, because if that was, then yeah, stupid. Okay, well, I mean, Cesaro versus Sheamus was a lot more technical than people would believe. Because Sheamus acted like his left arm was injured, and Cesaro focuses attacks on that. And I don't know, because it was at the very end. There was a point where they were outside the ring, and then Cesaro was on the ring apron, and Sheamus was just on the outside. And then he charged after Sheamus, but then Sheamus delivered a backdrop on the ring apron. His leg hit the ring post hard. Then Sheamus tosses him back in the ring and delivers the cloverleaf for a submission win. So it's 2-0 Cesaro, 2-0 for Sheamus. I would hate that this is going to be a sweep. I don't want this to be a sweep. Because if this is a sweep, then the WWE doesn't really give a damn about Cesaro. Now, let's face it, Cesaro is a great wrestler, and Sheamus is one too. But let's face it, what's going to happen when one of them wins? I mean, what is this opportunity that Mick Foley promised? A shot at the Universal title? Because I hope it is. And if that's the goal, then I hope Cesaro wins. But if it's not, I don't know. And then they had a video package of the WWE Hall of Famer Mr. Fuji, which was great. He saw his early wrestling career when he used the salt as a weapon. And then you see him being a manager of Yokozuna, which is great. And now he's a manager of Haku. Some costing Bret the Hitman Hart the title at WrestleMania with the salt in the face. And I didn't realize because they showed that there were, I don't know, there were skits that Mr. Fuji did. Two skits with, I think it was Lou Ferrigno, looked like it. Where there was one for, they looked like Miami Vice, and the other was some kind of hospital thing. I don't know. Yeah. And they just show him accepted the Hall of Fame. Uh, he was a great manager, and let's face it, he is the best thing the WWE ever had. But yeah. And then just a video package of Kevin Owens talking about his hopes for winning the Universal title, which I think was great. And then up next is a match between Braun Strowman and Americo. And if you guys don't know who Americo is, try and look up the. Yeah, he was a wrestler from TCW. That's traditional championship wrestling, which is now gone. I mean, it started in 2009 and it went out of business in 2014. I just found out. I don't know why it went out, but yeah. I mean, his last title of TCW was the Junior Heavyweight Championship belt. Okay, let me just look up Americo's titles. Let me see. All right, let me just see this. Shoot. Jesus Christ. You know what? I did not like what they did with Americos tonight. And that was a very disrespectful thing that they did to him. Let's see, he was a he was an NWA Elite Tag Team Champion with Mustang Mike. And then he was the TCW Junior Heavyweight Champion. And what they did to him was just disrespectful because he's a great wrestler. And they should have. And after what they did to him, I am doubting that he's gonna sign up for the cruiserweight division. So this was a squash match. Strowman just tossed him around, did a reverse choke slam on him for the win. And what was disrespectful is that after the match, Braun Strowman unmasked him. He took the mask off for Miracle, and in Lucha Dorm in Lucha Libre, that is the ultimate disrespect. And that, well, I guess you're not going to get any more wrestlers from AAA or anyone from Mexico because of this. And they keep announcing that the cruiserweight division is going to come in 3 weeks, even though they don't have anyone signed up. And I'm guessing that Hornswoggle is going to make his return to the cruiserweight division. Yeah. After what they did to the old cruiserweight division, I doubt that it's going to be any good. And let's see. And then we get to the Paul Heyman thing when he addresses everyone about Brock Lesnar. We see Stephanie McMahon coming to the ring. And then she welcomes everyone to a historic edition, Monday Night Raw, blah, 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 for the Universal Crap title. And then Stephanie wants to discuss about what happened to Brock Lesnar and how he FI Shane McMahon at SummerSlam. And she said that people might think she is okay with this attack, given the recent competition amongst the brands. And Stephanie says that this is the farthest thing for the truth. And says no one messes with her family. Yeah, tell it the Stone Cold. Then Paul Heyman interrupts her and comes down to the ring to apologize. And there's a chant of ECW. And Sam reminds everyone that she purchased ECW from Heyman a long time ago. And then there was a lot of CM Punk chants, because he's going to make his debut at UFC 203. And hopefully he's going to win. And then he talks about his clients defeating Randy Orton at SummerSlam, calling it a victory for the Raw brand. Is that he admits to Lesnar's crossing the line when he attacked Shane McMahon. And then he said, brings up dropping down and trying to protect Shane. He says that he's here to pay the $500 fine against Brock Lesnar. And oh my God, he had a huge stacks of ones. And then he was this it was taking each dollar and tossed it on the ground. And I thought, oh my God. It's definitely man got a strip. It looked like it because looks like he had a stack of ones and then Stephanie McMahon slapped the money out of her hand, and I'm just wondering whether that money was real or not. Because if it is, probably some fan probably got a couple of ones out of this whole thing. And they said that Brock Lesnar might provide value to Raw, even though he's not there or wrestles, but wonders what kind of value Heyman provides. And she asked Heyman if this is a funny or some kind of joke. And Sammy says, "The storm is coming, and it's coming your ugly way." Wow, yeah, that's very stinging. Then Heyman corrects Stephanie, saying that his client Brock Lesnar is the storm. And he says an apology is due tonight, and it is for Stephanie McMahon. And then Heyman brings up the board of directors of the WWE and ascends the compromise position. Lesnar put the whole McMahon family in at SummerSlam. He asks Stephanie, he begs her that she accepts the money as a fine paid, a lesson learned, and an apology delivered. And you would think at this moment that Stephanie McMahon was going to slap the crap out of him, but no. She says apology accepted and just walks out, and Paul Heyman smiles behind her back, and I don't know. I mean, if there were any time for a slap fest, that would have been it. They really missed that opportunity, and then uh, once again we have this Titus Neal versus Derek Young again, and I don't understand why they keep continuing this. I mean, this is a very short match. I mean, I mean, Titus has beat the crap out of Darren Young. It only ends when Darren Young rolled him up in the crucifix pin for the win. Then afterwards, Titus O'Neil attacked Darren Young again. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why they keep continuing this and the whole thing of making Darren Young great again. Should he face Rusev for the title? The United States title? No. I mean, they think of an idea, but they don't deliver it. Then it goes to backstage. Then Mick Foley is talking to Stephanie McMahon. They're saying that he should have been out there tonight when she confronted Paul Heyman. But then Stephanie said that she can handle herself. I appreciate that. And Foley suggests that they ban everyone from ringside tonight from the main event. And Stephanie agrees. And Seth Rollins comes out. And this is a little bit of indication that maybe Seth Rollins is turning face. As Seth Rollins says that tonight will be the best main event Raw has ever had. And he promised to bring the title back. And Stephanie says tonight is Seth's night, and she hugs them both. And goes on, and here we are, the main event. The fatal four-way elimination match between Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Kevin Owens, and Big Cass. And the only thing that ruined a little bit about this match was the commercial breaks at the wrong time. Let's see. There were points in the match where all four men were trying to take each other out. Certain points where you see Roman Reigns and Cass alone in the ring trying to confront each other. But yeah, I'm not gonna go through the matches. Let's see that. I'm gonna give you the series of eliminations. So the first person got eliminated. Okay, let's see. Rollins was Big Cass because after Rollins hit him with a super kick, he went for the pin, got a 2 count, but then Kevin Owens went for the 6-star frog splash of Big Cass, and he got eliminated. There were points where Roman Reigns launched himself onto Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins, and then at the very end of the match, at the very end of the match, Roman Reigns was taking out Kevin Owens, and then he would try to go after Seth Rollins, but then who should come out but Triple H? He came out and attacked Roman Reigns, and then tosses and delivers a pedigree on him on the pavement, tosses him in the ring, and then tries to pull Seth Rollins into the ring, try to encourage him to cover Roman Reigns, and he does, and gets 2 count, and Roman Reigns gets eliminated. And then you see Kevin Owens in the corner, and then you see and then you see Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and you see Triple H grabbing Kevin Owens. And then at this point, Triple H kicked Seth Rollins in the midsection, and he was getting in position of doing the pedigree, and then he was looking at Kevin Owens. that delivers the pedigree, and then Kevin Owens crawls and covers Seth Rollins and wins the match. And her new WWE Universal Champion is Kevin Owens. And then I hear a crowd chanting, "You deserve it." And you see Triple H raising. Well, actually, after Kevin Owens won the match, Triple H went out of the ring and just pulled the title away from Nick Foley. Went into the ring. He gave the title to Kevin Owens and raised his hand in victory. And then you see Triple H walking out, staring at Stephanie McMahon, and he walked out. And I don't know. I think Stephanie McMahon's trying to act like this wasn't planned. She was confused. But finally, a good ending to Raw with Kevin Owens as the Universal Champion, raising that ugly belt up in the air. Yeah, we finally got a good ending to Raw, even though the rest of it was crap. And hopefully this will lead up to a confrontation between Triple H and Seth Rollins next week. And hopefully, and the one thing that I have to note about tonight is if Clash of Champions is a Raw pay-per-view, then how come they had Backlash on the backstage on the little LED board? Yeah, well, at least Raw ended with a good victory with Kevin Owens, and I don't know who's Kevin Owens going to defend the belt against, but yeah, good ending to Raw, even though everything else was crap. But yeah, so let's end it right here, and hopefully SmackDown will do better than Raw. And I thank you for listening. Leave your comments. Thank you, and good night.